As the crow flies on the Vance Crowe podcast.
Of getting there was our conversation with the Ouroboros. That's why I've been very hot and bothered recently, thinking about some of that stuff.
Well, I think that I think it is completely understandable that when you encounter these ideas, that you become captivated by them. Because in many ways, the reason I think Jung is so profound, and I also think he's making a huge surge into the public, into the consciousness of at least the people I'm running around with. Mm-hmm. But it's that when you grab onto a symbol, it both explains what you are thinking about without words, and it does it, and at the same time it doesn't explain it, right? It can contain the value of your feeling about something, but it also means something totally different to you. And I actually, normally I have a book that just says symbols over there, but it's over there right now because I was reading it this morning. Yeah. But I have become totally enthralled, not with the symbols themselves, but with what meaning other people put in that symbolism, and where are the symbols that are so archetypal, just like the Monet painting, that whether I'm seeing it 3,000 years later or the guy drew it on that cliff, a long time ago, we understand the same meaning. Yeah. And the fact that he didn't tell me, it's not words, it's something else, and yet we can still understand it as it transcends time. I love that. I love it. Yeah. No, being able to carry that stuff through, because time is its own variable. So tell me more. What do you mean? Well, I mean, being able to carry something through space is one thing, and space and time, that was Einstein's whole point, is that they're the same thing. But being able to carry something, I can pass my water across to you and you're carrying it across space, but carrying something across time from a legacy standpoint, and I'm far too young to be thinking about legacy, but I do, but you think about with something with the Monet, to have the power and mastery in your art or whatever it is you do. And then that's where I appreciate your idea of and I already forgot the term again, intersubjective experience.
Intersubjective experience, because if you can just affect one other person with an intersubjective experience, then you've established your legacy in time, I guess, if that makes sense.
Say more.
If I've affected you just enough to affect something else that affects something else, that's where it's the perpetuality of it. And the Ouroboros of how that measurability can be affected of what can come of a spontaneous interaction and how it carries on from there. And then that's where you kind of have to zoom out, because a painting is material in that it can represent the ego and the individual who did it. But the hero's journey may be just being, Blanche of Castile, right? Where you're just pushing that thing that's pushing the next thing, or wherever you are in that chain.
I get it. So this is this. I love talking with you, man. The idea that you really smacked me across the face with when we were driving was the same thing that you were saying about the impermanence. You put a painting on in an art museum, and it can feel like it's there forever. It's housed in perfect climate conditions, but it's on a canvas. Eventually it will wear away. Right. Someday we won't be able to care for it in the way that we do now. But your actions in the world, while they seem completely impermanent, I am going through the grocery store and there's a woman checking my bags, or checking me out, and I am excited and happy and tell her a joke, and she gets in a good mood, and now the next 15 people that she sees, she tells that joke to. It lightens the mood, and each one of those people go to their job or back to their home or whatever challenges that they're facing, and that energy resonates into there. Yeah. And while it seems like, well, I can't measure that, I can't know that that's what's going on, you can definitely say, I'd rather be pushing good energy into the world as opposed to bad energy, because all those little orbits that you've hit and knocked off of their axis and made more positive, that is what's going into the world, and it is what will come back to you. Right. And it does feel like once you start breaking it down in simpler terms, it starts saying not only should I want to check my ego so I'm not angry with the guy that yells at me because I'm in his driveway, but I should also, not only is it just better for me not to be angry, having my emotions drive my actions, but also by being better to him, he goes in and treats his wife better. His wife then treats the dogs better. The dogs don't bite the neighbor. The neighbor then gets along better with people. Like, it's the best way to be. And it starts entirely with, can I control my ego enough to put positive energy into the world as opposed to negative?
Yeah. And then that's where time comes back into play, is that goes on forever and it's behind you your entire life.
Wow. Yeah. You're right.
Yeah.
And it does transcend time in a way that the canvas can't.
Right.
Man, I love talking to you.
Anytime, man.